the tyranny is perverted to oligarchy and then to the democracy. So by oligarchy, which is ruled by the few, again which is overthrown by the democracy, all political instability took place, and again a powerful leader come to the forefront and establish himself as a monarch, and the cycle is going on. Aristotle is of the opinion that the revolution always arises due to demand for equality. Due to demand for equality. So my point of argument is that this cycle of from that is your monarchy to aristocracy, aristocracy to polity, and from tyranny to oligarchy, and from oligarchy to democracy. It is a totally cyclical order according to Aristotle. Second point of our discussion is that politics as a practical activity. The politics as a practical phenomena, we found it in each and every society and institution. It also found in private as well as public life. Whenever you see, you will find politics. So it is a practical activity. And you know that in each and every sphere, you find politics. That means politics is always an inherent factor in human life. So our first point of discussion is that politics is difficult to define precisely or clearly. We may define this as a politics. It is an activity by which a group of people reach to a collective decisions by removing their differences among the members of the group on a particular issue. Could you follow my point? That means politics is an activity by which a group of people reach to a collective decisions by removing differences among the members of the group on a particular issue. Whether the members of that particular group accept it or the decision may forcefully imposed upon them, that is, they have to come to a particular conclusions. My point of argument is that means it is an activity by which a group of people has to reach a collective decision. If we analyze that in a society, there cannot be a common agreement between all the peoples of the group or any institutions. There are some oppositions. Still then, the decisions must come out of that particular group, because this is one of the political activity. So they have to make or obey these decisions of the group. That is the reason why it is difficult to decide clearly. Second point, nature of the politics. That is coming to what is the nature of the politics? The politics is a collective activity, as I have already told you. It is a collective activity, and whenever there is a group of people, there is always a differences. There is always a differences among the group of the people, and you know it, because take for an example, if there is any discussion took place in between our friends regarding a particular issue, then there may be the differences of opinion among our friends. So politics is an activity, it is a collective activity wherever there is a group of people and there are differences of opinion, and politics involves removing such differences among the members through discussions, where communication plays an important role. That means we must have to communicate each other to remove those differences among the members of the group. And communication where plays an important role. That means communication of opinion among the members of the group, and the decision come out of the group should be bindingly or forcefully implemented among the members of the group. That means, no doubt, some of the people or some of the members of the group, they may disagree with the particular conclusion come out of the discussions. Still then, they must have to obey it. And as all of us know that in a family also, we have to reach a collective decision. So also in a state, it is necessary. So, but we cannot say the activity of the family or the decisions reach as political decisions. Rather, that is the activity of the state or the political institutions where decisions were taken by the political leaders, irrespective of their differences among them. That is called the political activity. The third point of discussion is that politics an inescapable feature of the human conditions. In this regard, Aristotle is of the opinion that man by nature is a political animal. Everybody knows that. Man by nature is a political animal, and it is the famous saying of the Aristotle, which means we cannot avoid the entry of politics in human life, because as well as it is also essential for the human activity, whatever it may be.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
ଆପଣ ଯେ ଗୋଟେ ପାରାଗ୍ରାଫ ପଢେଇ ସାରୁଛନ୍ତି ଟିକେ ଓଡିଆରେ ବୁଝେଇତେ ବେଲେ ଡେସ୍କ୍ରାଇବ ହିନ୍ଦୀ ଇଂଲିଶ ରେ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଠିକ ଅଛି ଯେ ଟିକେ ଓଡିଆରେ ବି ଟିକେ କହିଦେଲେ ବେଟର ବୁଝି ପାରୁଛୁ।
अच्छा ठीक ଅଛି।
ଆପଣ ଇଂଲିଶ ରେ ଡେସ୍କ୍ରାଇବ କରି ଦଉଛନ୍ତି ନା ହେଟା ଟିକେ ହିନ୍ଦୀ ନାଲେ ଓଡିଆ ଯେମିତି ଟିକେ ଡେସ୍କ୍ରାଇବ କରିଦେଲେ ବେଟର ବୁଝି ପାରୁଛୁ।
अच्छा I will try my level best to speak some in Odia. Politics is that is inescapable feature of human conditions. That means राजनीति टा गोटे एंता जिनिस है जे we cannot avoid. मनीष समाज जिन दिनु आसला जिन दिनु गठन हैला politics टा गोटे एंता जिनिस है we cannot avoid it. That means it is bound to come. Say for an example, तुमे देखि दिबो जे घरे जदि गोटे बापा मार दुईटा जदि संतान अछन, that means दुई लोकर डिमांड, they make some demands to their father and the father has to fulfill. तार बापा का करबे तार डिमांड के fulfill करवार के जीवे, and at that time also they must have to make a choice करवार के पड़वा सेनु, because what is the priority or देखो निहाती भावरे दुई जण थिले सेनु निश्चित भावरे सेनु गोटे डिफरेंस अराइजेस. That means we cannot avoid this is inherent in the human nature, and that comes, we cannot say it is one of the social activity in family, but in case of state तमे जेते बेले देखुछो जे कोनोसी भी माने इश्यू आसुचे, we have to make the choice. Say for an example, in case of the Indian political systems, whenever there is election, we have to make the choice whether we will go for the Modi or whether we will go for the other party, any other regional party. Or that means in human psychology, the activity is inherent, and whatever it may be, there is a common agreement regarding the goal with some argument among each other. तुमे देखबो गोटे फैमिली रे भी जदि कोनोसी गोटे डिसीजन टे एराइव हेबार अछि, then we make some argument with each other and come to a common goal. आमे तापरे गोटे डिस्कशन के आसमा गोटे कंक्लूजन के आसमा ये नहीं, we have to do such and such things. जदि गोटे फैमिली रे होउछि it is a small organizations, and where cannot, and it may be possible, not possible, it is that is your inherent in the state activity, because it is one of also the larger organizations among the members of the group, and once a decision arrive, it should be implemented over all the members of the group. I mean to say that the decisions of the group, that is your group, implemented upon the members of the group. The reason is that whether they may agree it or disagree it, with discussions they have to remove their differences and they have to come to a conclusion, and these decisions are binding upon them. Next, that is your third point of our discussion is, we have already discussed the second point, that is politics as a practical activity. That means we cannot avoid the entry of politics in the human life, and we have already discussed how it is difficult to define and what is the nature of politics, and politics as inescapable feature of the human condition, because we cannot avoid it. Third point of discussion is that what is politics. Now we shall discuss about the what is politics, and each and everybody of us know something about the politics. देखिथिबो तमे माने जेन माने भी स्टूडेंट अछो समस्ते किछि ना किछि जानिछु आमे जे पॉलिटिक्स ता काना है, some idea about the politics, and politics involves, I mean to say that, use of power. That means a person can impose his will on the other, make them obey, whether he want or do not want, whether they want or do not want. That means politics, everybody knows that, or all of us know that it is, or it involves the use of power. That means there is some amount of force is used, whether it is with the consent of us or with or without consent of the particular person. Aji, say for an example, today what is prevalent in the society? Nowadays, the COVID is running. COVID-19 is the predominant factor in the society. And the government of India, or particularly speaking, as we are the student of Odisha, the government of Odisha is trying to impose the various rules and regulations despite our disagreement among the individual. आमे समस्ते चाहूँ कहीं सब बेले सदा बेले गला बेले मार्क्स यूज करवार लगी
नहीं सर
नहीं चाहे बार की स्टिल देन वी आर बाउंड टू ओबे देखु तुम सोशल मीडिया रे तुम्हें बहुत गुड़े विभिन्न लोक विभिन्न प्रकार वे रे दे ट्राई टू अपोज बट स्टिल देन the decision of the government is final and it should be imposed upon the people. Where? Because we are bound to obey. तुम्हें देखु तो रास्ता रे गला बेले विभिन्न समय रे जे नहीं तुम्हें जदि हेलमेट से फॉर एन एग्जांपल यूज ऑफ द हेलमेट no doubt everybody knows that it is for the safety of us, for the general public. Still then we are avoiding, and at the same time the work of or the that is your function of the state came into an existence. That means people must have to forcefully obey the rules and regulations provided by the government, because there is coercive force, माने बलपूर्वक ताकू से नीति नियम गुड़िक लागू करवाटा कहुए जे coercive force. बुझीगला?
आज्ञा.
Whether the leadership came into existence in each and every sphere, we find politics. That means in family, society or any union, you find politics. Everywhere you find politics. But in case of family, society, or any union, it is a narrow concept of the politics. But the activity that determines in relations to the state, which is the central concerns of the power. That means only the state activity, that is called the politics, or which involve the imposition of the power by the government. And as you know, state is the central political institution or association. That is called the action of the state is called the political action. And the next questions relate to the politics is, what is state? We are discussing about the politics and the state. So now the question arises, what is state? Or our next point of discussion is, what is state? So there is no general agreement among the political scientists on state. The ancient Greek city-state is clearly different from the modern nation-state. Everybody knows that the political science begins with the Greek city-states. And the Greek city-states, or the system of Greek city-state, is quite different with the modern system of nation-state system. आमर जेन तुम्हें यहाँ नहीं देखुच वर्तमान जेन स्टेट देखुच, दिस टाइप ऑफ स्टेट is quite different than Greek city-state. The democratic state of Great Britain is the example of modern nation-state. The Western Europe is differ from Hitler or Mussolini, and also the former USSR is differ from each other. That means USSR, the form of government is communist pattern of government. The Western European country, they adopted the democratic pattern of government. The Hitler and the Mussolini, they are the authoritarian ruler. So the pattern of state is different.
Sir, USSR means
United States of, that is your Russia, Soviet Russia, USSR. That means it is different. America रे तुम्हें देखो कि democratic form of government is there. In Russia you will find the communism. Not now, that is the fall of communist pattern of government. Now this Russia is divided into small cantonments, 16 small cantonments. There are so many divisions, whatever it may be. We are analyzing about the theories, how state differ in each other. Mussolini, the categories of state of Hitler and Mussolini. So the type of state is differ, and the state differs on account of political institution or social context. Our next point of discussion is state or a difference on accounts of political institution and social context. Now we shall discuss how states shall differ in terms of political institution as well as in terms of social context. Political institution, how a state is different, and social context, how a state is different. As regards the political institutions, the liberal democratic state is characterized by representative institutions such as parliament, independent judicial system, etc. You see how the political institutions is differ. That is, as regards political institution, liberal democratic state characterized by representative institutions. Say for an example, In a democracy, you will find parliament, independent and impartial judiciary, then your the legislature, executive. There are organs of the government. But as regards the social contest, that means societal contest. Society represents the state. That means Western versus Soviet or Soviet Union. Western country are the democratic country. Soviet Union represented by the communist pattern. That is called the social contest, societal contest. And Western are dominated by the capitalist economy, but in case of Soviet pattern, the resources of the society is controlled by the state. That means property belong to the state. That is common, belong to the common. Common, the form of government is common. That is called the pattern of society. That is not yours. It is the property of the state. Where if you analyze that is your communism, or if you have gone through the communism of Aristotle, so Plato, you know how the communism is to be and what are the principle. Kana tar niti niyam hoche sabu jinso tume jani parbo. But having a little bit of time, constraint of time, we have to concentrate our discussion on your particular topic, that is view of state differences on account of political institution and social context. Political institution they dekhla je nahi, liberal democracy, what are the form of the institution? We found parliament, independent and impartial judiciary, legislature, executive, and other organ of the government. But in case of the social contest, state also differ, that is Western versus Soviet. Western country are the democratic country, whereas the Soviet Union is represented by the communism or principle of the communism.
Sir, China?
China is also the communist country, but we basically we make the reference of the Soviet Union.
Again.
Next point of our discussion is, that is Milban's view on state. What is the Milban's view on the state? In his book, The State in Capitalist Society, he wrote about the different elements of the state. What are those elements? Milban says government is one of the most the foremost element of the state. That means we found in each and every system there is a government, and there is also a bureaucracy to rule over the people. That means for the day-to-day affairs of the government, it is the bureaucracy that is necessary according to Milban's for the state. Third point is that military or the police. So for the existence of a state, we also need the existence of the military or the organization of the police force, because to maintain law and order situation in the society. Without existence of the police force, could you think that it is possible for the any type of institutions to run in the society? It cannot be possible. Say for an example, a small example I am giving you, that तुमे जदि देखबो घरे जदि माँ बापा नैनो, how the phones are to be used by the students. सबु बेले फोन रे काना बिजी रहउछो तुमे जे नहीं, social media and other things you are busy, and whenever your father and mother will come, suddenly you stop the activity. Where this conscious activity came into our mind? The reason is that the existence of force behind our psychology. आमर काना आमर डर अच्छे जे नहीं जदि बापा माँ देखिए बेले गाली देवी. That is the reason where today people obey. where today people obeying the rules and regulations provided by the government without having their consent. The reason is that otherwise they are forcefully provided, or otherwise they have to pay a fine. तुम जदि मार्क्स यूज करूछ, द रीजन इज दैट जदि मार्क्स यूज नहीं करबो बेले रास्ता रे गला बेले जदि पुलिस धरबा बेले तुमको फाइन देबार के पड़बा इन स्पाइट ऑफ योर डिसएग्रीमेंट तुम नहीं चाहबा still then you are using. The reason is that existence of the police force. So military organizations, it is in the context that military organization is necessary for the existence of a state to control the activity of external aggression. बाह्य शत्रु आक्रमण आमे हमको बचाबार लगी मिलिटरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन दरकार. से फॉर एन एग्जांपल तुम जदि गोटे आ गोटे छोटिया एग्जांपल दे दूचे तुमर शरीरटा भी गोटे सिस्टम है. ह्यूमन बॉडी इज आल्सो ए सिस्टम. सो देखबो जेते बेला शीत दिन आसुचे आमे का करसु कंबल यूज करसु. वी ट्राई टू यूज द ब्लैंकेट्स to protect our body from the heavy cold. The reason is that external aggressions. सेंता जदि आमर बॉडी रे किसी डिसऑर्डर होची, इंटरनल डिसऑर्डर होची, if the fever come we will take the medicines in spite of our disagreement. होचे कि नहीं बार? Are you listening to me?
होचे सर.
Yes sir, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल होची.
तो कथा political system is a system that until and unless some forceful decisions are imposed upon the subject, they should not obey it. That is the reason the organization of military and the police force is necessary for the survival of the political institutions. Next is your judiciary. घरे जेनता तुमर माँ बापा अछन दुईटा छुआ मित्र जदि झगड़ा लागली बेले दे the parents were there to decide. Just like the organization of judiciary is necessary to make the check and balance in between the power holder. That means if something is not good for the society, then it is the organization of the judiciary that struck down and make a balance in the political systems. Then there is local government is there, because without local government we cannot make the correlations or a development, and the state cannot persist. Next is your parliament. According to Milward, parliament is necessary to make or formulate rules and regulations for the governance of the country. जनता तुम नीति दिन तुम निजर चलवार लगी you have to make a routine of your day-to-day life. Just like same, the government has to make some rules and regulations for the governance of the people, and accordingly it formulates some rules and regulations for the existence or the survival of the political system. Otherwise it may disintegrate. Next we have to discuss the third point is that is various forms of state, and in this concern, or that is your types of states. In this regard, modern state is identical with the nation state system, because the modern state is a development of long historical process where various elements plays an important role, like religion, kinship, war, property, political consciousness, technological advances. These things are to play an important role in the formation of the states. And though this historical evolution varies the forms of state and the organization of state came into an existence. And the tribal state, the Greek city state, the Roman Empire, the feudal state, and the modern nation state. The modern nation state basically a product of, as we the people know, it is a product of the Treaty of Westphalia. The Treaty of Westphalia, which was
sir
signed in the
hello
year 1648.
hello
Yes. Yes.
हाँ ठीक है ओडिया रे कहते बोले बेटर रहता ठीक है एटा बुझी ना
हाँ ओडिया रे
ओडिया
मॉडर्न नेशन स्टेट सिस्टम टा आम ट्रिटी ऑफ वेस्टफालिया रु आसला आमे देखिछु जे विभिन्न प्रकार ग्रीक सिटी स्टेट हला किंबा रोमान एम्पायर हला किंबा फ्यूडल स्टेट हला ई सब गुडा को हिस्टोरिकल ग्रोथ हे करी आसी छि तापरे आसी 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 लास्ट के काना हे जे तमे जेन यानी आमे जेन जेन अवस्था रे अछु these state systems are called the modern nation state system, and this was the product of Treaty of Westphalia, which was signed in the year 1648. 1648 मसीह से साइन होता आउ से ट्रिटी ऑफ वेस्टफालिया रु मॉडर्न नेशन स्टेट सिस्टम आसी हला आफ्टर दिस ट्रिटी ऑफ वेस्टफालिया दैट मींस मॉडर्न नेशन स्टेट सिस्टम काना है जे नहीं तो टेरिटोरियल डिस्टिंक्शन बिटवीन स्टेट केम इनटू एग्जिस्टेंस आगो काना होतला कि टेरिटोरियल वेरिएंस ने रहउतली क्या थी लगी द स्टेट्स वेर डिसाइडेड in accordance with the religion, in accordance with the, that is your empire. But the modern nation state will define in terms of the territorial boundary. तो मैं देखो तो वो if you analyze the elements of the state, that is population, territory, government and sovereignty, तो मैं जेंटा +2 classes रे पढ़ी जो तो this territorial boundary came after the signing of Treaty of Westphalia in the year 1648, and this paved the way for a development of modern nationalism or modern nation state system with international law, legal equality of state irrespective of their size, power, economic capacity, and with the theory of sovereignty or sovereign equality of all nation state. आजिकाली तुम्हें देखुथबो irrespective of their size, ताकर साइज जहाँ भी थाउ, ताकर पावर जहाँ भी थाउ, इकोनॉमिक कैपेसिटी जहाँ भी थाउ, sovereignty जेन प्रकार भी थाउ, this thing determines irrespective of all these things modern nation state came into an existence with Treaty of Westphalia. सेते बेले काना हला जे नहीं boundary, the territory is necessary, territorial existence is given priority as well as irrespective of their power, irrespective of their economic strength, irrespective of their size, irrespective of their existence, they are treated as all are equal. तो मैं पाकिस्तान के नियो कि अमेरिका के नियो all are should be treated equal in the international forum. Each and every modern nation state has their own importance.
Sorry, Westphalia टा कना
एटा गुटे ट्रिटी टे है आ से ट्रिटी रो परे परे हमर
माने गोटे रूल एटा रूल ना के गोटे रूल ना है के गोटे रूल रो नेम है के एटा
रूल रो नुहे गुटे ट्रिटी तमर जनता गुटे ट्रिटी हला जे ट्रिटी माने वर्साइल गुटे अछि वर्साइल संधि पड़ी जे पिला माने चुक्ति टे एटा से चुक्ति परे परे मॉडर्न नेशन स्टेट सिस्टम ता स्टार्ट हला जेनटा की टेरिटोरियल बाउंड्री के देखा गला तार आगु काना होतला जे नहीं गोटे रिलीजियन के नहीं गोटे स्टेट होतला किंबा गोटे फ्यूडल लॉर्ड्स मान को नहीं गोटे स्टेट होतला ऑल दिस थिंग्स रोमन एम्पायर विराट साम्राज्य सेटा होतला तार पर से सब जिन सब भांगी करी काना हला जे टेरिटोरियल एक्जिस्टेंस के नहीं करी गोटे राष्ट्र गठन हला again the modern nation state was dominated by two ideology that is liberalism and second is your Marxism. Liberal speaks about the welfare state and liberty of the individual. Liberalism रे तुम्हें देखबो they speaks about the welfare of the state. welfare वाला काना बुझी पारुछ कि नहीं
संपद
नहीं welfare माने होची जे
कल्याण जन कल्याण जेंडा कहतो
जनमंगल और जन कल्याण
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल हां सहीटा सर
I mean to say that where today the vaccination system is going on rampantly, where today the old age benefit is given to the people by the each and every state due to the COVID, the reason is that the welfare nature of the state, janamangalakari rashtra, the nature of the state is welfare. Always think about the welfare of the people. That is the reason where all the individuals given equal priority. But Marx is of the opinion that the notion of classless society, he is of the opinion that the society should be classless and the state will wither away by the proletariat revolutions. The state will wither away by the proletariat revolutions, or that is your Marx principle is establishment of dialectical materialism is the chief motto of the Marx. जिते बेले संघर्ष हेबा द प्लोरेटोरिएट एंड द बोर्जुआस संभ्रांत आउ प्लोरेटोरिएट द हैव्स एंड द हैव नॉट्स these are the true groups as stated by the Marx, and there is chaos and confusion and proletariat start revolutions against the bourgeois, and these bourgeois people ultimately lose the battle and there will be existence of the classless society. कौन सी क्लास नहीं रहे समस्ते से जगह समान and the property is belong to the state and all should be treated as equal. But in case of the liberal state, individual is given priority and individual, that is your welfare nature of the state is developed, and always the state activity concentrate for the development of the society, particularly speaking the development of the individual. लोक मानकर भल लगी सब बेले राष्ट्रटा काम करवा हैला. आई एम स्विचिंग बहुत माने पॉइंट गुडा को अच्छे. तापरे नेक्स्ट पॉइंट ऑफ आमर डिस्कशन है जे पॉलिटिक्स एज ए वोकेशन. हियर वी हैव टू डिस्कस अबाउट द व्यू ऑफ मैक्स वेबर. Max Weber is a political scientist. He stated that politics as a vocation. Weber says regarding the legitimate use of the force. Legitimate use of the force means what? The consent of the object is there or inherent. That means whether you may like it or dislike it, you have to give your consent. Legitimacy माने होचे तुम्हें देखो ये तुमर मतामत पोषण करवाटा. That is legitimate use of the force in a particular territory. He is of the opinion that three important elements like territory or geographical area, which the state control, the use of coercive force to maintain its control. That means use of coercive force, binding force is necessary. तो देखो तो in a given territory, the coercive force is necessary to control or to gain the legitimate power. लोक माने तुम्हें देखो आमे जेन तुम्हें जेन प्रकार वोट दउचो से फॉर एन एग्जांपल इन केस ऑफ इंडिया में इंडिया के नो एग्जांपल रे किबा ओडिशा के नो एग्जांपल रे लोक माने वोट दौचन के नहीं the leaders were taking the consent of the people, that is the legitimation. Can you say that the 100% of the people they are giving their view in support of the government? No, not at all, because there are some of the people they may oppose it also, and there comes the coercive use of the force. तुम्हें चाहला सत्वे भी नहीं चाहला सत्वे भी you have to bound to obey it. No doubt some of the people they may, it is not a political discussion, but still I am giving you one of the example. तुम्हें देखिथिबो ओडिसा रे केते लोग बीजेडी के सपोर्ट करूछन समस्त सपोर्ट करूछन के
नहीं सर
नहीं करो. Still then those who do not support the government of the BJD they also obey the rules and regulations formulated by them. Where? That is the use of the coercive force in a given territory. Say for, I am giving you the small example here. It will take into consideration in case of the state. Central government santa tumhe jodi inne mobile be the same. So, the use of force or control the state, that means no one should go against the state. Another important thing Weber says that, emphasizes that the distribution of power should be made in such a way that the bureaucracy is dealing with variety of tasks. तो मैं देखी दिबो the distribution of power structure it must be distributed in such a way that it must subserve the interest of the group. समस्ते सेतिरे संतुष्ट लाभ करुदबार कथा. That means distributions of power. If the power is concentrated in one hand, then other group may be dissatisfied and they may start revolutions against the government. Jahan hasi, where the leaders were switching the party, the reason is that they were dissatisfied with the central leader or their existence in the political party, so that they disobey the political party and go for the next political party. तुम्हें जेते बेला देखी थीबो जे नहीं काना जे हमर जेते बेला differences of opinion, so that is the reason where there must be the distributions of power among the power structure. Power structure काना बा distributions ता समान हेबार कथा, so that it will survive, otherwise it may disintegrate. Next point of discussion is that the legitimate use of power. For the existence of the state, power is necessary. गोटे राष्ट्रटे सर्वाइव करवार लगी क्षमताटा नितांत आवश्यक है, but the power must be legitimate one. That means people must obey it. तो मैं देखो, say for an example, where this legitimate use of power is necessary. Without legitimacy, the system may disintegrate. तो मैं देखो, say for an example, the human body. आमे यदि मनुष्य शरीर के यदि नेमा गोटे सिस्टम है बायोलॉजिकल सिस्टम, इट इज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट एग्जांपल ऑफ द बायोलॉजिकल सिस्टम. लेजिटिमेट यूज ऑफ फोर्स केंता होचे देखो तुमने कि नहीं, यू आर ए वेजिटेरियन से फॉर एन एग्जांपल एंड नॉन वेजिटेरियन फूड वेर प्रोवाइडेड टू यू, व्हाट विल हैपन? झाड़ामाती हेबा कि नहीं होए?
यस सर
डिसएग्रीमेंट हबा. सो
खाइले से ना हवा से जाके अगर दिया हवा से तो खाए ही नहीं ना, जाके दिया जीवा से तो फास्ट बंद खाए नहीं ना.
I mean to say that legitimate use of the force, that means whether you may agree with it or disagree with it, you are provided with the non-vegetarian.
Disagreed with it.
I mean to say that legitimate use of force means तमे नाई खाइले सिने किछि ना है तुमको फोर्सफुली खुआ गला काना हेबा अवस्था झाड़ा हेबा कि ना है दिस सिस्टम डिसएग्री
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बोले तो झाड़ा बनती है हवा
हेबा डिसा कि ना है that is called the legitimacy is necessary. I am giving you the importance to the word legitimacy. Your consent is necessary for the survival of the system. जदि सिस्टम टा ठीक चलबा लगी दरकार है बेले legitimacy नितांत जरूरी है. That means your consent is necessary to take the non-vegetarian food. Could you follow my point or not? It will happen in case of the state also. It will happen in case of the state also. As you know, it is a political institution. You have to obey it. How many people were agree with the decision of the central government with regard to the lockdown? There are some of the people that may disagree with it. Still then they are obeying. Still then they were obeying. Why? The reason is that the legitimate use of the power. That means otherwise the system disintegrate. That means it may collapse. Then revolutions took place. That means physical compulsion is necessary. So in the form of, say for an example, तुमनु फाइन कलेक्ट करायो छे मार्क्स यूज ने हेले आउ सेथिर लगी तुमको बाउंड करायो छे आउ तुमे देउ छो भी आउ तथापि भी नै मानबार की. That is called the legitimate use of the power. तुमे एज फाइन दे दिबो फिर कल के मार्क्स बोलियो हेसी किंतु some of the people were there, they were spontaneously obeying. That is inherent. That is their legitimacy towards the system. That is called the legitimate use of the power. The consent is given. So people obey because they think it is right to do so. Helmet ame nahi chahbar. Still then we are carrying the helmets. The reason is that we are bound to do so because it is right for us. Next point is that Max Weber on legitimation. There are so much of constraint of time. बहुत गुड़े आउ गुड़ाए माने पॉइंट अच्छे हमर डिस्कशन लागी. I am trying to cover because जदि एते सब डिस्कशन करिवस मा बेले पॉइंट गुडा को नै सॉरी आज्ञा तो कथा हला जे नेक्स्ट पॉइंट हला जे Weber's view on legitimation. Max Weber says that there are three type of legitimation. One is the traditional habit, second one is the charismatic, and third one is the legal. Traditional habit माने होचे मैं गुटे पद रे कोइ नउचे तुमे देखबो you are paying respect to the elders. Why you are paying respect to the elders? Because केनु लेखा है के
tradition.
That is a traditions. It's a habit. That is the reason where we give respect to our elders. We give respect to our teachers. That is legitimized on our mind. That is called the tradition or habit, or that is the first type of legitimation according to Weber, Max Weber. Next is your charismatic leadership. You are obeying some of the people who are adopting. They were the devotees of Rama, some were the devotees of the Gandhi, some were the devotees of the Buddha. Can the Buddha come and say to you, you obey this principle? Or can the Gandhi come to you and say whether you obey it or disobey it? No, not at all. Nobody says to you. But it is the leadership charisma. We are obeying the rules and regulations adopted by the charismatic leader. Buddha principle hela ki Christ principle hela ki Mahatma Gandhi hela, they are the charismatic leadership. That is the reason where we give respect to them. We give respect to their ideals. We give respect to their principle. Bujhela, they cannot say personally to you to obey their principle. That is their charismatic leadership. Many of you are obeying the principle of many charismatic personality. तुम देखु तुम दैनंदिन जीवन रे तुम विभिन्न करिस्मेटिक लीडर के लेजिटिमेट करूछ. The reason is that is called due to the charismatic leaders. Third point is legal or rational. Again, the same thing, the existence of the police force, where we obey the rules and regulations. Because if you disobey, then the police may take to the jail.
Jail.
That is the reason we obey certain rules and regulations. That is called the legal or rational type of legitimacy. Next point of our discussion is legitimation, central concerns of political science. C.W. Mills says legitimation is the central concerns of political science. As I have already stated you, जनता तुमर biological system disagree हेले, it will make collapse. Just like same, तुमको ज्वर हेला मेडिसिन ने खेलो, असुविधा हेबा कि ना होय?
हेबा सर,
निश्चित भाव रे हेबा. संता legitimacy भी गुटे फैक्टर है. यदि consent नहीं हेला, it is the central concerns of the politics. Consent is most necessary, and it will depend upon the degree of the consent. That means the degree of the consent that power holder occupy. That means how the power holder try to justify their power. If we analyze that, then it will depend, or if you analyze the degree of the legitimacy, then we can come to the conclusion that how many long the system will survive. Say for an example, यदि लोक माने the principle of BJP is maximum people obey or follow, then the government of the BJP will last for long. Where a long, more than 50 years, the Congress government will rule over India. The reason is that the principle of the Congress party will given consent, legitimate consent by the people of the India. That is the reason why the single largest party, they rule over the India for a long period. Otherwise, it will disintegrate. Why in 1947 the East India Company left India? The reason is that they lost their legitimacy. Because they lost their legitimacy and people start revolutions against them. That is the legitimate consent. That means how many people obey the rules and regulations. That means the stability depends upon the legitimacy of the people. And to what extent the people accept the power structure in a legitimate manner. लोक माने केते दूर तक केते समय तक तुमको मानी करी चलुछन, तुमर अस्तित्वटा सेते दिन तक थिबा. जेन दिन नै मानबे किंबा जेन दिन डिसोबे करबे, revolution start and ultimately the system will disintegrate. नियति भाव रे आबा. That is called that is why the reason legitimacy is the central concerns of the political science. Always there is legitimacy. Why in America the Donald Trump government falls? The reason is that the lack of legitimacy, the lack of support. तो the Eastern political system पढ़ने हे सब जिनस पढ़े नहीं था. Whatever it may be, let us come to our point of discussion. That is legitimacy. Then there is next point is process of delegitimation. That means the process of delegitimation, our next point of discussion. Whenever and wherever the domination of idea are subject to criticism, we may call the process as delegitimation. The same point came into existence. That means whenever people disobey it, the delegitimation starts. The people start revolutions, and overthrow the power structure. When people disobey it, the delegitimation start. People start revolting against the government and governmental structure, and that is the reason they overthrow the power structure. And in this process, due to loss of legitimacy over the existing structure, the power structure will be overthrown. And here I want to say that the legitimacy and delegitimation is one of the permanent feature of the political system. That means to what extent people obey, they provide legitimized obedience to the political structure. जेते दिन पर्यंत लोक माने बुझीचन सेते दिन पर्यंत से सरकार चलबा, जेन दिन से सरकार रो अगेंस्ट से माने गले से दिन से सरकार भांगी जिबा किंबा ओवरथ्रो हो जिबा. That is called the delegitimation process, and this process of legitimation and delegitimation are the permanent feature in the political system. Say for an example, now the PPL election is going on, not made it political discussion. That is your academic discussion. लोक माने जदि PPL रो लोक माने जदि say for an example in case of Odisha, they were satisfied with that is your facilities or provisions or that is your service provided by the Pradeep Maharathi, then they should give vote in favor of the Rudra Maharathi. Until and unless they support and until they dissatisfied with the rule provided by that is your Pradeep Maharathi, the Rudra Maharathi will lose the election. The reason is that delegitimations or loss of the support behind them. And this feature of legitimation and delegitimation is always inherent feature in the political system. Can see the political system, whether in case of the America, whether in case of the India, whether in case of the Pakistan, you may see legitimation and delegitimation are the core feature of the political system, each and every political system. Next point of our discussion is that is manipulated consent. Manipulation of the consent, rather you may see. Consent माने तुमर मतामत ताके मैनिपुलेट करा जिबा. मैनिपुलेट बोले काना
फसै दो.
आजिरर डेट रे तुमे देखुथुबो, in spite of having differences among us, we are bound to give, practically speaking, vote to the BJD candidate. Why? The reason is that we cannot have an alternative. Why the people in central government choose for the Modi? The reason is that they don't have a definite or clear-cut alternative. That is the reason why the consent of the people is manipulated. तुम्हें देबार के चाहूतिले भी से पार्टी के वोट ना देबार. The reason is that your consent is manipulated. विभिन्न साहाज्य सहयोग देकरी your consent is manipulated, and you are bound to give in support of that particular political party your vote. So the next point is of our discussion is personnel of the state machinery or the elite. That means the state is not act like a machine. We may sometimes say state machinery, but it cannot be the same. State is not act like a machine. It is an institution where people works. लोक माने जेनु काम करूचन सेटा से मान को नहीं करी गुटे राष्ट्र है, because people are not compare with the machines. Machine माने जेनटा हमें ऑर्डर देमा सेटा करवा. The individuals could not follow. The reason is that characterized with their own sentiment, own attitudes, own orientations that influence, or the orientation of the people influenced by the social environment. This plays an important role in the political system, and it depends upon the ability or the quality of the leadership. That means, say for an example, how to deal with a particular situation. तुम देखिथिबो विभिन्न सिचुएशन के, if we are two people are dealing with a particular situation, both of them were dealing with the same situation will differ. समस्ते जो हमको यदि कहा जाए जे नहीं ये सिचुएशन के केमती डील करमा बेले आमर समस्तंकर डीलिंग क्वालिटी टा अलगा अलगा है आ समस्ते अलगा अलगा वे रे डील करमा. That is called the personnel of state machine or the elites. That means if we have a strong elite group, then strongly deal with the problem. Say for an example, where in previous days in the Congress government, whenever there is any type of the international attack or international role played by the government of India, it's not influence the international community. But where in case of the Bardhaman, the wing commander Bardhaman, who is released in few hours, that is the elite capability. That means that determines the quality of a person to impose their own sweet will upon others. That is the view with regard to the foreign policy, where today the that is your government of India taking steps like Balakot, or that is your surgical style, due to the leadership quality, due to the elite mechanism, where it cannot be happen in previous years. That is the quality of the persons that determines the existence. So whatever it may be, let us come to a conclusion that all of us know that the politics is a game of power, and that may took place inside the state, which is a national affairs, and inside the state which took place, it is a national affairs, and outside the states or among the states, it is an international affair. But central concerns of the state is politics, and politics is a game of power. This is all about your block first unit second, what is politics and study of state and power. Ujjala?
Yeah.
That's all for today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir.